Good morning, all. A warm welcome for the Shine Safely session by Inspire Clean Energy. Once again, warm welcome to everyone. Today, now we will talk about what the session is all about: the safety and how we are going to manage the plant and the plant safety and also the person safety. I hereupon introduce you, Mr. Dilip Kumar, the founder director of the company, will be starting the session. Dilip, over to you.
Thank you, Anand. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for taking time out amidst your busy schedule and joining us for this webinar on safety. Anand and team said to me that when you talk about safety, it is going to be a little challenging because many people don't want to be part of such a boring topic. But we are overwhelmed with the kind of response that we have got and on dot participation by most of the registered members. So I thank you for taking time and joining us for this webinar. And I'm not going to talk about the company. The whole idea is to make sure that we learn from this whole topic, take it forward and implement it in our day-to-day working. So that's the key idea. And as I do that, the lines will be muted so that we can ask the questions at the end of the session. And Anand and my team will be available to note down your questions and then post the session. Here we start. Over the last 9 years, we have handled close to about 2 gigawatt of solar PV plants. And what we are going to share is about what we have learned over the last 9 years and how we can adapt safety in a practical way. We coined this as Shine Safely because most times when we talk about safety, it is just and wearing a PPE, wearing a reflective jacket, or wearing a hard hat. That's what most of them think as safety. But when we coined the word Shine Safely, our idea was to make sure that every day our team members come in with a confidence that the work, the task that they are going to do is safe and they have less hazard, or they are aware of the hazard and they can handle it better. So that's the idea of Shine Safely. We will be taking this whole presentation in 3 categories: the why, how, and what. We would be talking about the purpose, the process that we have adopted, and the result that we have achieved in following the process. So the whole presentation is split into these 3 categories. I think most of us know the why. I don't have to explain about the why we need to have safety embedded into our day-to-day operations. So the main reason is the growing install base. We have close to 71 gigawatt installed solar PV plant, and of which 80% is ground mount or utility scale solar PV plants. And most of them who have joined are aware of challenges or different kind of injuries that we have faced while operating the solar PV plant. We are not going to talk about safety which happens during construction phase of it. We are purely going to talk about the challenges that we face post commissioning and during operations and maintenance life cycle of the solar PV plant. Because many have spoken, or there are well-defined processes to take care of construction related fatalities and injuries, but there is less or no focus on managing fatalities or injuries during operations of the solar PV plant. So the main concern or the main purpose is the growing installed base. How do we handle the growing installed base and how do we operate them in a safe manner? The second major reason is before the law comes into picture, there are suo motu cognizance being taken up, different organizations taking up unsafe work practices, accidents that are happening in factory, and making sure that rules and regulations are formulated. So today we cannot wait for a law or a rule to come to follow safety. Either our customers are asking us to follow safety, or the fund which has invested into these solar asset is asking to follow safety, or just like the case here, National Human Rights Commission sends notice to center and state asking why safety is not followed properly. So we cannot work in the normal way. Chalta hai, let a rule come, us samay dekhte hai. So those kind of philosophies don't work. We have to be one step ahead, think about tomorrow and plan today. And in addition to this, the major challenges, work-related illnesses or injuries cost close to 12% of GDP loss. If there is a loss because of injury or illness, they are costing us in billions. Not just injuries and illness, but if a team member gets hurt or injured, the whole morale of the remaining team gets affected, the work gets affected, and the cost of disengagement is very high. This is a report shared by Global Wellness Institute. This is a 2019 report, and they are saying $2.2 trillion is the loss in United States alone, where data monitoring and everything is available on incidences, reporting is available. We don't have any such reporting or matrices in India, so we cannot calculate the annual loss that we are making because of work-related illnesses or injuries. So unsafe work conditions and poor EHS policies not only lead to human loss or resource loss, but it also impacts economic viability of the project or the organization which is employing the team. While all these purposes are there, the key challenge that we have is price pressure. O&M price pressures are ever decreasing. I have never seen somebody saying that we want to give you more, but make sure that you are operating the plant safe, or make sure that you focus on the equipment life. I have never seen any discussions like that. Everybody is focusing on reducing O&M costs. And that's largely because of the falling PPA rates. The developers also do not have much leeway to make sure that they can provide sufficient budget for O&M. The interesting stuff, this is a 2019 report provided by GTM, part of Wooden Meccans. They said that the lowest price for O&M contract is found in India. And typically, Indians include all that which is excluded outside of India. So we are ready to sign on white paper and give it to customers that sirf aap mere ko order de dijiye, I will ensure that I will manage your plant. So that's the kind of market scenario we have. So while there is growing install base, the O&M price pressure is pushing us to a situation which is very hard to manage, right? And because of that, what happens is you have safety like this. Just a minute. I am not sure why this is not. I want this to go up. I hope you guys can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Just a minute. Okay, so I'm still not able to move this guy out. I don't know why. So anyhow, the point is because of this price pressure, safety has become a namesake entity. People are following safety just because we are forced to follow safety, or just because an audit is happening, or just because a customer is asking us to submit a set of documents. So this is a classic case. I took this picture this morning when I was coming to the office. This young chap is well dressed, having his safety shoe on and wearing a safety t-shirt provided by the company to emphasize him that, hey, work safety is important, work safety is important. But this gentleman forgot about the helmet. So that is how safety is implemented today in most of solar PV plants. They are implemented in letter, but not in spirit. So how do we go about this? How do we change this whole situation from namesake safety to an practical safety? Most times safety is not implementable because it is not practical. So the major challenge that we have to adhere, or we have to look at, is how do we make sure that safety is practical and deployable. So when you look for these terms, practical safety, Ernst & Young had come out with a wonderful analysis in the year 2016 on implementing occupational safety at work sites. So they gave this EHS excellence metrics, and they said every company has to go through this 4-step process, and this has to be a continuous improvement process. They say you have to discover pains of today so that you can plan for tomorrow. You have to design processes and tools to enable that it is successful. That is, it is not namesake, but it is successful. Just not penalizing, but enticing team members to follow it. Third, to operationalize it and make it as a culture and habit, rather than having a safety policy stuck in all the place and nobody has clue about what the policy means, what the word means, and what is the essence of it. Make it operationalize. And fourth is to sustain them by continuous learning, training processes, and identify new hazards or new challenges or loopholes in the existing system so that we can be better. This is the process. ENY shared it as part of their reporting as EHS excellence in the year 2017. And we took this survey before we started this webinar plan, and we asked the industry, what is the major challenge you see? What is the major reason for an accident in solar PV plant? And I guess most of you, even in this participant list, would say it is the DC, which is most hazardous, as rightly said, as rightly polled result shows here. But unfortunately, what most people do not understand is ergonomic hazard is the major reason for accidents and injuries in solar PV plant. We don't understand what is ergonomic hazard. Hence, we don't know ergonomic hazards exist. So that is where the major challenge is. So when you don't understand where a hazard exists, then how will you plan or strategize your safety policy or your safety processes to avoid the hazard? So this was a major eye-opener for us when we implemented ENY's EHS excellence into ICE operation. So we bought in this methodology, hierarchy of controls. Most safety professionals is aware of this hierarchy of control: elimination, substitution, engineering control, administrative control, and PPE. But the important essence in this hierarchy of control, which most miss, is the effectiveness of them. As clearly shown in this diagram, elimination is the most effective method of removing hazard, and PPE has the least effectiveness on observing you or absolving you out of an injury or an hazard at site. Unfortunately, we are doing this pyramid in the exactly opposite way. We focus more on PPE, we focus more on administrative control, we focus more on engineering controls, and we don't focus on substitution and elimination. So the following slides, I'm going to show about some of the ergonomic hazards which is causing problem in utility sites. You would have seen such installations where you have a trench where you have put up the central inverter or the LT panels. Nowadays, most of the utility plants have string inverters, and hence you have LT panels. You don't have enough space for the team to do a preventive maintenance or a corrective maintenance. These injuries, these hazards can be easily managed when the solar plants are designed. And you can look at this picture. The footstep size is so small that a person who's carrying a tool cannot walk on it or step on it stably and reach up to the platform. And how they have solved it? By providing some slab, which is again much more dangerous. So the biggest challenge is to eliminate these hazards during the construction phase or the design phase itself. And most of you would have seen such installations with the string inverter becoming popular in utility scale plants. They are installed below the tables, and there is no enough space to do regular corrective or preventive maintenance. Say, for example, if you send a team to do string current measurement, how will they do string current measurement here? There is no visibility of which string they are measuring, whether those strings are open, whether those strings are properly connected. They will connect the clamp meter. When they accidentally shake it, there is a possibility that you will have a short circuit, and it is going to cause a fire. It is going to cause a DC electrocution. So now what you will say, DC electrocution is the biggest hazard, but actually it is the ergonomics which has caused the DC electrocution hazard to occur. So this common sense approach of looking at the challenge is very important in having practical safety implementation at site. The second most important activity that is being done in solar PV plant is vegetation management. Here you cannot take elimination as a route at all. The only possibility is to use substitution. Most times you see laborers manually cutting them or manually removing the vegetation to control the abatement. Instead of going for easier methods which could reduce the hazard, we don't use it. We simply want to deploy more resources and cover it, or the worst case, we spray chemical weedicides and make the environment much more polluted. So methods like easier environmental friendly substitutions are not being considered in the solar PV plant. So like on the right hand side, you can see Trancobot being used, very comfortable to go under the table, clean it, come back, faster use, lower fuel consumption. So these are already available substitutions where you cannot remove an safety hazard. So these substitutions play a very high role. It will improve productivity. The team morale will be high if you look for such substitution. The third most important hierarchy of control is engineering controls. And most times you have DC problem and AC problem because of improper sizing of an protective device. You have an improper MCCB, you have an improper sized cable, you have an improper sized fuse, or you have improper crimped MC4 connectors. If you have proper sizing of protected device, 80% of your DC and AC side faults can be eliminated. DC and AC hazards can be eliminated. So this is a classic case of a new project which we took over as operations and maintenance team. We found out that they have used an fuse rating which was lesser than the actual rating that they need for the system. So there was frequent failures, and the frequent failure was the fuse holder burning. So if you don't attend to it with a technical mindset, one day the whole SMB will go on fire and we will say it is a DC hazard. Actually, it is not DC hazard. It is an improper engineering control hazard, which has led to a DC side problem. So proper engineering control can reduce most of the challenges in a solar PV plant. Yet another example is undersizing of an MCCB. Here in case, again, a particular phase contact is completely burnt. If it would have operated for more time, we would have seen a major AC side arcing. So these are hazards which can be easily avoided with the proper engineering control. The moment we talk about engineering control in safety, the first name that comes is LOTO. Yes, LOTO is an engineering control, but it is predominantly an administrative control which is assigned to teams to follow it. You still don't have control whether your team will follow or not. There is a possibility because of emergency or urgency, they have missed to put a LOTO tag. But if you have a properly designed solar PV plant, properly designed MCCB or an fuse, the number of incidences where you have to use a LOTO tag itself will come down, and that will not have urgency in the mindset of the team, and they will follow safety protocols properly. So that's how practical safety comes into picture. Yet another case on administrative control. Here in administrative control, everybody talks about work permit, toolbox stock, and whatnot. So before we started implementing our EHS excellence, we printed out safety toolbox stock and asked team to sign it. So this really defeats the purpose of a toolbox stock, right? Toolbox stock is to talk about the hazard, talk about why it has to be done, what are the hazards, what are the control and precautions that you have to take, and then the team understands and agrees to it. Even though they do it every day, it is needed for them to repeat it so that they know it becomes a habit to them. By printing this, the whole purpose has been defeated. So most times today, toolbox stocks are printed, or the toolbox stock is done for namesake without any clarity why a toolbox stock is being performed. And this is a new challenge that we are getting now. Overkill of a PPE. An arc suit is given and the team has to operate with the arc suit in an LV panel or an medium voltage panel, which is not live. The whole purpose of an arc suit, what kind of arc suit needs to be provided, everything is defeated. So when you give such kind of personal protective equipments, the team will use it only when an audit is happening, or only when you are present, or they will wear the arc suit and everything, click a picture, submit it to you, remove the arc suit and go about and do the work in a normal way. it is not helping them, it is not practical, and it is not in any way ensuring that safety is followed at site. So a very mundane understanding on effectiveness of PPE is also causing challenges in implementing safety. So how we approached it, the Shine Safely philosophy was, we took the whole approach into 4 steps: defining a policy, assessing each site at regular intervals, measuring key performance indicators, and continuous improvement. So under our Science Safely program, we developed a practical safety framework where we kept the team members at the core of the policy. What will entice the team member to follow a policy? How they can make sure that they themselves will be able to follow that policy without regular hammering. They understand the value of policy. Second is to make assessment. These assessments are done by teams which are operating it. We will have we have an HSE team, but still there are single point owners at each site who do the assessment, which comes to HSE team for verification, because most time the HSE team has lesser work knowledge on hazard that is available. So effective hazard identification and elimination is being assigned to the team which works. And an effective KPI, what needs to be monitored? What are the parameters needs to be monitored? Is it only deviation or is it complete follow-up of it? All those parameters which are critical to improve safety needs to be monitored, and continuous education, continuous training to understand the new problems that may come in the site is needed. So this is one clear picture that we show to our teams when it comes to safety, because just like how you see the whole F1 team replaces the wheels, refuels, everything in microseconds. Less than a second, they do all this. It is possible only with these 20-member team working in complete coordination. This is possible. So if you want your plant to be operating safely, you need all the team members, starting from management to the support staff who is there doing cleaning of your premises, also be part of this whole program. Otherwise, it is not possible. Here also, the driver, who is number 21, needs to come and brake at the exact location. If he brakes 1 meter before or 100 meters before, 100 centimeter before, the whole stuff changes. So you need to have a safety policy which entices the team members so that they follow it by spirit and not for the sake of following it. Examples that we have done, whenever we take over a solar plant, we do a complete assessment. As I said, the team members assess it. Most times you have documents saying something, and in the field there is something which would cause a problem. We cannot simply go by the assurance that, hey, the plant has been operating for 2 years, 3 years. We cannot go in the same mechanism. For example, in the top picture, the inverters were, the LT panel breakers were named for inverter 5 and 15, but actually they are connected to inverter 6 and 16. Imagine a situation that there is a fault in inverter number 5. The team goes, looks at this nomenclature, switches off the breaker, they go and check in the field, and the inverter is still live, right? So these kind of situation needs to be removed, and this can be done by field assessment only, and by enabling the team members by spirit so that they can do the assessment. Same way, KPIs, many have lesser understanding on near misses. Near misses are simple cuts, trip falls, these are also monitored by our team, and kind of physical drains that our team go through, like dizziness, fever, diarrhea, stomach pain, or eye irritation. All these incidents are monitored so that we can understand what activity is causing what. Is it climatic condition? Is it a site related condition? Or is it a block related condition, so that we can improve on the work methodology for them and help them with better procedures so they can do it. And as I said, continuous training is the only way to improve and make it as an habit. And monitoring them, how many hours each of the team members have been trained, and what is the procedure and calendar to maintain those training is also need to be logged. So you need a proper KPI metrics of what parameters needs to be monitored, what needs to be metrics and given back to the team members is also important. Another classic case of working with assessment and continuous improvement as key. For example, traditionally, unlike you have a factory, you don't have proper signages. When there is a fire, most time the team members do not know where to go and fetch the fire extinguisher. So whenever we take over assets, we do a mapping of where is the fire extinguisher, how far it is. And once we understand, let's say this particular incident which happened on July 6th, then we reassess, hey, we need to have one more fire extinguisher at a nearby location. It is causing more time. So this gives more confidence to the team that yes, there is a serious concern on safety, and there is a serious concern on how I implement the safety. It is just not namesake. So that is very key, because if you continuously provide indicators to the team, yes, they are looking at it, they are making my life easy to use safety, they will follow safety without hammering. So these kind of techniques of continuous improvement is required to ensure safety is implemented better in your site. And what happens when you do them? What happens when you follow the EHS excellence model? You will see such overall performance evaluation improving. This is a project that we took over in March 2022. The safety ranking provided by the customer was at 2.5, 2.8. By continuous implementation of Shine Safely program, we have consistently improved the performance ranking with our customers, with this customer, and we have continuously gone above the benchmark and met the complete evaluation requirement of the customer. So if you do it right, you can see real value. And now this team at this site does safety assessment, comes back with continuous improvement program, how to handle hazards, how to identify hazards, and helps us ensure that we keep getting the top mark in safety performance. So that's all about safety, Shine Safely program. Inspire, we started in 2015 with an 100 kilowatt plant. And today we have served close to 2 gigawatt assets in India. We focus on making sure that the whole life cycle continues to be green while operating the solar power plant. We focus on ensuring that the total cost of ownership of managing a solar power plant is the lowest. And we keep creating standards for the industry so that industry can follow them, implement them, so that the whole industry as such grows together. So these are our key areas. So our solutions are comprehensive care, wherein we provide our robust softwares and warranty management, insurance management, everything covered, so that the customer has 100% peace of mind and fixed annual O&M budget. We also work on repair. You can get your inverters repaired from us. You can get an inverter protection plan from us. So any warranty support, inverter replacement support will be provided by us. It is a third-party warranty protection plan for your inverters that we provide, with more than 1,000 different unique spare parts that we have and tie up with OEMs. We are better positioned to provide inverter repair, inverter replacement, and inverter salvage solutions for your projects. As I said, we simply don't focus only on doing business. We focus on building inspiring community. We have partnered with Shevalaya, an NGO which supports economically weaker section of the society. These kids that you see them, they are all budding sports stars who can one day represent India in the national and the international level. We are sponsoring 4 of them to pursue their passion in field and track events. We continuously do that every year so that we can help build an inspiring society. Another program that we conduct is Jugni. Our idea is to provide at least 1 billion women with 500 watt to 1 kilowatt DIY solar kits from old solar panels and old inverters. So you would have seen most of the projects after the end of life, what needs to be done. There are many cases, the solar panels have some issues and they are not properly repurposed. So under Jugni, we want to repurpose such old equipments and provide economic viable solutions to poor women across the globe. It's a global initiative. Team members from 18 countries are part of this Jugni initiative, and we are proud representative here in India. And thanks everyone for your time. We have another 15 to 20 minutes for discussion. I have my colleague Kamala Kannan, who's an expert in EHS, to help you answer queries. If you have anything, we are open for questions now. Over to you, Anand.
Thanks, Dilip. It was wonderful. Participants, this is the floor is open for the questions and the queries and for the discussion. You can frankly open and speak up what you needed.
Are there questions on the chat?
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great.
Yeah, if we have no questions, we thank you for joining us for this session. We have your email IDs and detail. We will be sharing you the digital participation certificate shortly over email to you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure having you. We will continuously do these knowledge session so that the whole, as an industry, we grow together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.